On September 11th, 2001, the world changed forever. Nearly 3,000 people lost their lives in New York, Washington, and Pennsylvania. At the World Trade Center, civilians, firefighters, police, and Port Authority workers faced unimaginable tragedy. Among the victims were 2,192 civilians inside and around the towers, 343 firefighters from the FDNY, 23 officers from the NYPD, 37 officers from the Port Authority Police. Each face tells a story of courage, sacrifice, and loss. But the tragedy of 9/11 did not end that day. In the weeks and months that followed, hundreds of thousands were exposed to toxic dust and smoke. The long-term impact is still being felt more than 2 decades later. As of March 2025, more than 129,700 people are enrolled in the World Trade Center Health Program. Over 87,000 responders and survivors have received treatment. The cost is measured not only in illness, but in lives. In the days after the attacks, the Environmental Protection Agency told New Yorkers the air was safe to breathe. Christine Todd Whitman, then EPA administrator, assured the public that test results caused no concern. Yet later investigations showed some samples contained asbestos, lead, and harmful particulate matter. For many survivors and responders, 9/11 is not just a memory, it is a daily struggle.
I was there.
Yo estuve allí.
Shortness of breath.
I stopped sleeping.
I was getting laryngitis.
Emotionally, it was a basket case.
None of these issues did I have before 9/11. I remember seeing a crack in the wall. You could see outside. There was a stairway that buckled from the wall. Just before we came out of the building, the FBI agent told us, "Don't look up and don't look back." Currently, I'm considered an asthmatic. I also suffer from acid reflux, GERD, shortness of breath. None of these issues did I have before, 9/11. I didn't have a cold at the time. There was nothing in my life at that particular point that should have pointed to me having this odd cough. The doctor told me when I spoke with her, she says, "I could fill a room with people that sound just like you."
I stayed at the foot of the North Tower, hooked up to the hydrant, tried to hook up to the Siamese to pump water up. Everything went dark, which was a blessing in disguise because we seen stuff falling, we thought it was just explosions. We didn't realize the building was coming down. The second collapse killed my lieutenant. Whoever, wasn't injured bad enough, worked around the clock. I was coughing up blood and actually went unconscious. My family was the best monitor, telling me, you act completely different. Like you don't react to things the way you used to, or you're just constantly on edge and everything bothers you.
My son was born on March 23rd, 2001, and on 9/11 I witnessed the attacks. Becoming a dad and being able to perform cleanup work, these were the two best things that ever happened in my life. We went in and we had something in mind, and that was to bring New York City back to life. It was very hard work and very long hours. I was there 7 days a week, 12, 14-hour days. We never thought about the contamination. We were so preoccupied and wanting to get the job done. A dry cough immediately, watery eyes, runny nose. It was hard for me to breathe. Being a single dad and just having a newborn, I wanted to provide for my son. But I couldn't because my body was not performing at the level prior to 9/11.
You're not programmed, or are you trained to see that kind of devastation? It was the most humbling thing I've ever encountered. Nobody ever told me to put on a mask, and I was pretty high up on the food chain. I delegated orders. I wound up spending 11 weeks in the hospital with gangrene. Before 9/11, I was very active, very healthy. I never smoked, exercised every day, went to the gym every day. One, I knew mentally I was not right. I developed a burning feeling in my chest, and I didn't know what it was. I never had it before. I had problems breathing.
As soon as the attacks occurred, my first thought was, what can I do? How can I help? I knew somehow, somewhere, I had to be there. The hard part was when the remains came in. There were nothing in Tent House, no engines, no firemen, except body bags and flags. I chose the night shift because it was, to me, a cloak and respect to the people that were missing and deceased. I brought my own boots. They essentially melted, not from heat, but just from wear. There were no respirators or masks. I developed asthma, severe asthma. I was passing out. Emotionally, it was a basket case.
I was at home when I heard the explosion. The kids were in school, of course. I had to find a way to get them. Being that it was hot, we had the windows open. I kept dusting a lot. The kids kept telling me that the smell was terrible. At first I thought it was a cold because he kept coughing and kept telling me, oh, my chest hurts. They just took him to ICU and they kept him there, and he was in ICU for 3 days.
All of this confetti started to come down, and our impression was that that had something to do with the election. I lost a best friend, many other acquaintances and friends. We were, as it happened, driven out of our house for a while. When we finally got back, just to walk through the house was to leave a trail of dust. I would get these just incredible, stuffy headache kind of things, just terribly for hours and hours at a time. I had the experience of cleaning the apartment. That seemed to improve things, but I had no idea what this was.
And there were a bunch of firemen trying to get across. The subways weren't working, so they all piled in my car. We soon became engulfed in that tidal wave of smoke and ash. That day I worked about 30 hours down at the site. We set up a bereavement and information center, and that was operational for 2 months, 24 hours a day, 7 days a week. I made sure that they got debriefed and got help for themselves, but I never did for myself. I have a lot of trouble breathing. I wasn't able to speak. I was getting laryngitis. I didn't want to admit that I was really depressed and having suicidal thoughts. They needed a father and they needed a husband, and I had to be there for them. It's something that changed my life. I had to get right to the edge before I went to get some help.
Today, more than 100,000 people are receiving care, a promise that they will not be forgotten. We remember those lost on September 11th, and those who continue to live with its legacy. Their courage and resilience remind us that healing is ongoing, and that we must never forget.